I'm waiting. There we go. Hi, everyone. It is Monday. It's like 11:03 Eastern Standard Time. So this is our regular weekly tarot, plus we're doing our new moon ritual today. So the new moon is tomorrow, but we're condensing with the summer schedule of meeting live on Mondays. Rather than Monday and Tuesday. So as you join and hop in the rooms, we're live on YouTube and on Instagram. So just a little note, little comment, hi, little emoji. We'll have a bunch to cover today. And you can, stay as long as you like, hop in and out, or watch the full thing on YouTube after the fact, anytime you like, right? On Instagram, it'll only stay live. Hi, Chris. For about an hour. So we'll get as much in as we can on Instagram. And again, we're condensing for the summer on Mondays. We're going to do our new moon and our full moon rituals along with our weekly tarot. So as you guys join me on YouTube and on Instagram, just leave a little note of hello, say hi, throw in a little emoji. We are really going to cover everything we can today. Okay, so it becomes a unicorn corral and a little bit of a race. Hi, Valerie. I know you now. I know which one you signed in on. So it's a lot. So we'll do some basics, like some housekeeping hi, Pearl, as everyone kind of gathers in. So it's summer. All of our schedules adjust to somehow. We're meeting Mondays every Monday in July and in August. And then we'll see what the fall brings and what it speaks to us as a community and what days and how often we meet and alive. Hi, Paula. Basic housekeeping. Okay, so it's July 1st. It's a brand new month in the calendar. Basics, right? For the month of July on UnicornWellness.Studio. Hi, Melinda. There's an incentive to sign up. So if you are not a member currently, this is a wonderful month to take the leap and to join. It is summer. UnicornWellness.Studio, one of the main benefits of it is that it travels beautifully. You just need a Wi-Fi connection and works in small spaces, and you don't have to have all the props. You can do every other workout that does not have a prop, so you don't even have to pack those. But the ones that are packable, they don't take up much space. Resistance band, Versaloop, they're all flat, and we travel a lot, and I've done it, and I know it. So if you are signing up to become a member in the month of July, you will get extra magic. You're going to get a magic circle. So if you use a promo code when you sign up for 30 days free on the site, you can use TGIG19 at checkout. If you don't use a promo code, you'll get your circle like that. And if you use a promo code to go, I'm not really sure if I'm in for this, but let me try, your magic circle will come in August in your first paid month subscription. Okay, so that's exciting. If you have friends that you're trying to get on the mat, that you're trying to get involved with Unicorn Wellness, please share this sign up incentive with them this month for the month of July. Okay, then personal readings, personal tarot readings, deep dive to thrive sessions, alignment sessions, anything that you would book with me at tandygutierrez.com. The calendar is full until September. Hooray, right? But I'm taking August off. So we will be traveling. And so if you're wanting to schedule anything, it'll be for September. I also think schedule sooner rather than later so that those spots don't get eaten up. And then you're like, oh, now I'm just kind of stuck further out. What else? Your newsletter will come out tomorrow. For members of UnicornWellness.Studio, you all get the newsletter automatically in your inbox at the email address you signed up for membership with. If you can't find it, look in your promotions tab. That's typically where it ends up. You can change the filters to allow contact at UnicornWellness.Studio into your inbox so that it just drops straight in. But go ahead and look. It comes from a service called MailChimp. That's what I use. And so it either ends up either, in promotions, sometimes in spam, sometimes in junk, sometimes in trash. But I promise you, if you're a subscribing member, you get the newsletter. So it will come out tomorrow. It's always chock full of goodies. This one's got an extra in it. So make sure you read it because it has a time-sensitive extra goodie for you all. If you would like to get the newsletter, head over to UnicornWellness.Studio, scroll all the way down. The bottom, you can drop your email address and you can get the newsletter. The newsletter is not just a dry newsletter. This is where I really go over the new moon lunation. It comes out at the new moon. We talk about what essential oils to be using for this 4-week cycle to help harness and balance the current astrology and the lunar cycles. It touches on the full moon. Full moon we typically handle here on YouTube and on Instagram and the posting. It talks about the workouts of this month, what to look out for, what we're doing in these workouts, why we're doing them energetically, how they affect us, physically, of course, how they affect us. Talks about what we did last month in the workouts as a review, and hey, why are we doing this, and getting on the mat, and what's the use of it? Plus, there's all kinds of little goodies, discounts, and people that I love. I never take payment or advertisement in the newsletter. These are things I love. These are makers and business owners I know, and they are typically female-based entrepreneurs. So all things that I'm totally behind and want to see rise in the world. Okay. So, Cynthia, you just finished your foam rolling. Hey now, I foam rolled this morning too. I jumped on the trampoline too. Okay. Oh, if you're in New York, if you're in Brooklyn, the last full moon ritual of the summer, the live one here in Brooklyn, is Tuesday, July 16th. 1:30 to 3:30. So if you want your ticket, you want to reserve your spot for that. It's a very boutique limited engagement. There's only 11 spots. So do that at tandygutierrez.com. If you're traveling in, if you want to travel in, I'll be honest, most people don't snatch their tickets till the week before. So do that because we're taking August off. Again, I'm traveling and we'll be back into the in-person full moon ritual in September. Okay. Checking my notes. Okay. Take a breath. All right. Those are all of the housekeeping bits as far as membership, as far as events. Now we head into what's going on this week. What are we feeling? What's happening? Okay. Tomorrow is our new moon. It is a big new moon. When are things not big lately in the astrology and in the lunations? So this is a new moon. So new moon basics, even for those of you that know, it's nice to hear the recap and go, okay, here's the energy at a basic level that we're dealing with right now. New moons are the time when this is my favorite thing to do, y'all. Sun and moon are snuggled up side by side. They're conjunct. And the moon is dark. It's dark as the moon. There's no reflection of the sun's light off of it. So at its baseline, this is a time of restoration, of self-care, of meditation, of napping, sleeping, and receiving messaging. So it's an excellent time to ask in meditation, ask in prayer, shout it out to the ethers, things you're really seeking answers on. But it also calls to us to hunker down, maybe back off, clear out the schedule, make sure you're getting at least an hour a day to yourself. And I mean it. No screen, meaning no pokey interactive screen, time. No trying to do multitask, no inviting people along. Time alone. So UnicornWellness.Studio is all about self-care, cultivating unconditional love and self-love through self-care, because that's how you do it. You get to know yourself. You get connected to the physical body embodiment on the mat. You get connected to spirit in your meditation, and you get connected to yourself in an emotional and intelligent, organizational and intuitive way in the tarot. So this new moon, every new moon, offers us the opportunity to just go, I need a little more quiet. I need to make sure I get my quiet so that I can ask questions, so I can see what I'm feeling, so I can hear what I'm thinking, and to really ask the questions, right? And then see if we get any answers to them. So, new moon basics are also after you've got this time in quiet and alone of contemplation, of thought process, of feeling, of being in your own damn body by yourself. And I know that sounds like duh, but we get so little of that really, that you're going to need to carve it out. You will need to give it to yourself. And it's really powerful and very important and transformative. Once you've done that, then you get to set intentions. So new moons are time of setting intentions, planting seeds, making wishes. What is it you want to manifest and what is it you want to see in your life? So we say like, now is the time to do it. It happens every month, right? So if you're very clear on what you want and what you're trying to manifest, it's just a time to regroup and go, do I still want that? Does it still resonate? Am I taking the steps forward, or have I gotten a little stagnant or a little complacent in it? Or what do I know now that I didn't know a month ago, and how can I adjust it for the better? So make your wishes, set your intentions after you've spent some time alone, after you've journaled, after you've meditated, so that you get into this space of as much clarity as we can get. And if we don't feel like we're clear, because that's a big gift in and of itself, then just do the very best you can, right? With intention setting, knowing that clarity will come, but you have to make clarity welcome. And clarity is made welcome by giving time to yourself. So if you saw my Instagram post a couple days ago or like yesterday, an hour to yourself is 1/24th of your day. That's like 5% of some of your energy to yourself. I mean, come on. So UnicornWellness.Studio is really built as a member to be efficient, if nothing else, in our busy lives. We want to do things. We want to be engaged with people. We want to go places, and we got work to do, right? But we need to be able to fill up in all the ways that are necessary to keep a body calm and grounded and healthy and well. Okay. And that means if you're a member of UnicornWellness.Studio, you got a 30-minute workout, a 15-minute meditation, and a approximately 15-minute monthly tarot reading there for you, new moon and full moon reading there. So you've got your hour right here of physical, mental, and emotional support. So like, hello, efficiency. I'm all about that, right? Okay. So those are your new moon basics. It happens every month. Mother Nature's best life coach and best scheduling calendar, right? I'm going to take a little sip, okay? Then we have this particular new moon, okay? This particular lunation will happen tomorrow when it's fully dark. In the Eastern time zone, I think it's at 3. It's either noon or 3. I can't remember. I didn't write it down. So tomorrow afternoon, ish in the Northern Hemisphere. So this new moon sits in Cancer. Okay, so let's just do the basics of Cancer energy, right? Cancer is the great mother. And that, I think, in and of itself gets very confused and very muddled and very mucky in an energetic standpoint, because we hear mother energy and automatically we just go to our mother experience. Now, depending on how your chart and your karma go, right, that experience can be not so great, right? So let's separate from that experience and look at what the great mother energy means. Cancer scuttles between the earth, the sand, and the ocean, intuition, and creative flow and divine universal source. It's going back and forth and back and forth. It has a hard outer protective shell, right? Because it goes, I got to be in this 3D world, and sometimes it's not pretty and I need a little protection, right? But the underbelly is soft and vulnerable and really gets in there tenderly, right? So Cancer energy, how I describe it, just me, is like, the great Irish mama. They will cook your favorite comfort food. They will hold you when you cry. They will let you just let it out. Be angry, be sad. They'll stick you on the couch with a blankie and your favorite Netflix, and then they'll walk away for about 3 or 4 days. And then 3 or 4 days, if you haven't already scooped yourself up, they're going to snatch you up by your ear and go, look, I hear you. I hear everything. I hear your hurt. I hear your mistakes. I hear your frustrations. But here's where you fucked up. And here's where your responsibility lies. And now you need to clean up all this mess here on the couch, turn off the damn TV, and go get the doing done to move forward in a path and a pattern. So Cancer is very much about balance, right? If you're not getting enough of the nurturing caregiving, in your life to yourself, because you're really the only person who can give it to you as much as we want it from other people. When we don't know how to do it for ourselves, we don't know how to receive, we can't leave the door open for other people to support us either. So you may need to look at, am I giving myself an hour a day strictly to my self-care? And self-care doesn't mean buying shit online or, face masking it up or eating a carton of ice cream. It's not about your spending power. It's about, your self-centric power of, how do I feel? What do I think? Am I just sitting here and breathing? I'm not busy. I'm not on the run. I'm not anxious. So find time to do that. And if you go, I don't have any of that time, then this is the time to look at a grand schedule and to carve it out. If perhaps you're excellent in the self-care front, you're like, emotionally, I'm good. I'm good. Maybe you're not doing some of the practical functional things of trying to bring something into manifestation. So maybe it's more in the work component aspect, career component, moving the dial forward. Maybe you're in the cleanup stage. You need to turn the Netflix off and get off your damn couch and go handle some shit, So Cancer energy calls for balance and looking at where that lies for your highest and greatest good as a nurtured, unconditionally loved soul expression in this universe. And we cannot look to others to facilitate that for us. People can hold space and support, but we need to learn what that means for ourselves. Like, I know that if I don't meditate, it's not going to work. The day is just going to downhill. So meditation and mat and tarot for me are non-negotiables most of the time. And if I'm short on time, I make sure I do a mini meditation and I for sure foam roll. Do you know what I mean? Like, we have to know what keeps us in stable, calm spaces where we can respond versus react. So this new moon says definitely stop and go, where's the balance? Where do you need to pick up? Where do you need to bolster and support and nourish? Maybe you're not. And for those of you who are, there's just kind of a call out of, for those of you who are Capricorn, sun, rising, or moon, my guess, I know this to be true, unless you've really been working on it this year, is that nourishing self-care is not even on the list. You are bleeding yourselves dry for the goal and for everybody else. Cancer can also do this because, again, Cancer as the great mother becomes the martyr of doing for everybody else and leaves themselves off the list. So I think if you've got Cancer sun, rising, or moon, or Capricorn sun, rising, or moon, you really need to look at the self-care component of things. I would even give a call out to Virgo in those placements also. And again, if self-care is not where you need time, and it could just be as functional as looking at your calendar and going, am I just booked straight out? I might be talking to myself a little bit right now. Where can I carve time out for myself? And not just can, where will I carve time out for myself? Because it will always pay you back energetically in the long run. Okay. Other people can wait. They can. Or you can cut down times. Like if there's, a call or meeting time that, might take an hour. No, I got 30 minutes to give you. That's it. That's what I got. So again, boundaries and balance and self-care that proves good for everyone. Because when you don't have, your cup isn't filled, you're short, you can't hear things, you're not a creative problem solver, you're not cognitively thinking at your optimum level, you can't focus, you're snappy, or you're just that foggy where you're like, I got nothing, right? So this Cancer new moon that's happening tomorrow also calls to two other things that I want you all to hear. Okay. One, this is going to be shadow work big time because it's Cancer. Cancer is a water sign and it's emotional and it's all the feels. And you're going between earth and water. And there's just a depth here that's being offered. Shadows being the stuff you don't want to look at, the things that make you uncomfortable, the stuff you're not very proud of. I'm called to share the little quote or the meme, that's, you cannot use anything against me that I accept about myself. I think that to me is one of the clearest explanations of doing shadow work. I'm a Taurus sun. Can be very stubborn. You can't really talk me into anything. You can't sell me something. It's going to resonate with me or it's not, or I'm going to see it and take the information and I'm going to sit on it and then eventually I'll come to it. That's it. That's how it works. That's how I'm wired. I am aware of my stubbornness, right? So before I was aware of it, it would clash, there'd be arguments and struggle, but it doesn't trigger anymore because I know I'm that way. And then I explain to people, I'm just slow to making decisions. You're not going to be able to push me into it or convince me into it. So just give me some time, right? So shadow work is the time, this Cancer new moon calls us to do some deep shadow work. The shadow, the dark stuff, the things we don't like, when we can learn to genuinely, maybe not love, but accept every part of ourselves, the very wounded, the very triggered, the very immature. That is absolutely the moment those things begin to heal, and that you're no longer caught up in the struggle with others. Like, I know who I am. I know that this is a thing. I'm working on it, or I haven't worked on it yet because it's not time yet. I don't feel ready, but I accept it. This is where it's at, right? That's a truly empowered space to be in with the shadow work. So this new moon is definitely a time of shadow work. And then there's the mother wound. Okay, so here we go, right? Because Cancer is the great mother. There's kind of no way we can't mention that this new moon, this particular new moon, is going to maybe poke and prod at our most sensitive underbellies, right? Here's the shadow stuff, the things you don't feel good about, the things you're not confident about, the things that you haven't been able to accept about yourself or you haven't even realized about yourself yet. The mother wound, right? What is it? We're not going to go into a full thing about it today, but this is an opportunity to truly make a fresh start and a new beginning and to heal the mother wound aspect. So mother wounds are the wounds of our mothers or our female familial, ancestors that they were not able to heal or haven't been able to heal just yet, and have passed down to us, and that we've kind of picked up their burden, subconsciously or consciously. For some, this will be very clear. If you had an abusive mother, then that's clearly going to be a wound of worthiness and unworthiness from the root, right? The person who birthed me didn't think I was didn't treat me like I was of value, right? There are much more subtle undercurrents of that, especially in a patriarchal culture. So just explore that a little bit. There's a whole YouTube video on the mother wound, so if you guys want to go back and watch that and explore if that resonates for you. This Cancer new moon is poking on these two things in particular. Okay, so again, the big note about this new moon in Cancer is the balance of responsibility. And I want to say the self-responsibility. Where is it my responsibility to take better care of myself, to support myself, to nourish myself, to bolster myself up better? And then where is my responsibility to go clean up some messes, to be more proactive, to be more efficient, to be more productive in things, to move them forward for the better? So it's really seeking balance. But asterisk to this full moon is that it's really seeking emotional balance, internal, because as unicorns, as seekers, as witches, and open-hearted spiritualists, we know that manifesting, right, is about our vibration, right? And that it attracts so that we can manifest and create things to come into being. But if we are emotionally imbalanced, that's going to be a whole lot more struggle, And so not to say that manifestation is always easy. I don't actually believe that because I understand astrology. There is a lot of tension and pressure in the sky outside of this lunation and this moon that are making things a little more challenging, but it's the way that it's supposed to be. So this whole Saturn Pluto thing, we're just getting pushed. And so again, we'll call to the same things that are happening in Cancer and in Capricorn, that we're being pressed and smashed, pressurized by certain planets in these spaces, that's calling us to become diamonds, to alchemize to our very best expression of our soul in this lifetime. That's not easy doing. So I want to have a word of, positivity, that it may feel like the struggle bus. It may feel like, oh my God, but you may very well be on the exact right path. It doesn't mean you're doing something wrong right now. It's just the state of affairs. Okay. So we have this pressure, we have this opportunity, and we're really being asked to look at our emotional internal balance and how can we make this better? No shame, no guilt, recognition, understanding, acceptance, forgiveness. What can I constructively do from this moment on to make things better in the future? That's all. That's all we can ever do. That is literally the name of the game. Don't let it get more complicated than that. Same as like, how do I change my physical health or my physical body for the better? You get on the mat every day, you press play for 30 minutes. That's it. You just show up, you do the small stuff, and you do it consistently. You know, how do I adjust my real health and wellness? You're going to hunker down into the food reset, and you're going to go slow one day at a time for 41 days and see what you learn, and then integrate that into your life. You know, how do I become more calm and grounded? Mat work, food, and meditation, right? And it's practice, and it's teeny tiny bits over and over. And you just do your very best in honor and in seeking of balance. Yeah, the squeeze is real, Erin. Like the pressure is real, okay? So I'm going to say something that we're going to transition to another portion of this Cancer new moon that happens tomorrow. If you have been wanting and trying to manifest something, anything, literally for the last few years, it could be the last 3, it could be the last 8. There's a cycle that kind of spans this. And that's a big cycle. I get that. But if there's really something that you have been trying to break through, trying to manifest, trying to do, trying to accomplish, this is literally the pressure cooker. Part of it's like testing us to be good stewards of what we want to manifest. This is the last ditch effort, so to speak. Give it this last shot, whatever your soul is seeking, whatever you have your eye on, whatever you've stuck your finger on for the last 3 to 8 years. Do not give up right now. In fact, double down. Meaning keep going, keep trying. And the pressure that we're feeling, the squeeze, is real. It is emotional. It is frustrating. It is tiring. So this is why radical self-care, right? Because if you care for yourself and you give yourself some time outs, we can get through this, right? For the better. So this is not the time to give up. This is the time to let go. I'm willing to give it one last effort for the next 6 months. Then see. If things genuinely do not come to fruition in the next 6 months, this is the time to go, okay, now I think this is really not the right path. I need to adjust. We need to reevaluate. Okay? Okay. So the new moon that happens in Cancer tomorrow, now that we've talked about, you know, what new moons typically, generally mean and do and bring us, this new moon in Cancer, what it offers us. Again, no lunation acts alone, but these are the basics of what's happening. Then we need to also know that tomorrow, along with the new moon, is a total solar eclipse. So this is big, right? It's eclipse season. It happens every year. But this is a big one, okay? And again, because eclipses instigate a template for the next 6 months. So as unicorns, I already saw somebody do it in the private Facebook group this morning. Like, yeah, this would be a great time to reevaluate like your New Year's intentions or resolutions or what you really want to get done. These manifestations, intentions, wishes at this new moon are bigger. They carry more weight. And so this is a time to really evaluate. And again, like I said, to double down on what you're really after, because it really could quicken. And it sets a template for endings and beginnings for the highest and greatest good of all in big ways that have literally never happened before. Okay, so it sets the scene and the energy and the template for the next 6 months. So this is an important one to go, nope, I'm really going to take my time out to journal. I am totally going to meditate and I'm going to write it down. Here's what I want. Here's my intention. This is what I'm still after, okay? Because of the pressure cooker that's happening, we are like, this is like, put your money where your mouth is. You really want this? You're going to have to put a little extra energy to work. Go to it. That doesn't mean bleed yourself dry. That doesn't mean abandon self-care and work your tush off. This means cultivate balance, be honest about what you want, and do not give up just yet. 6 months, then we can talk about maybe it's not the right thing, okay? So this also means that today is our new moon ritual, right? So new moon energy is most intense 3 to 4 days prior to the lunation tomorrow and 3 to 4 days after. But we're going to be dealing with these energies for the next 2 weeks and with the themes for the next 6 months, okay? So this is a time when your ritual and your intention setting carries more power with it. So if you do candle magic, if you like to write the letters and burn them up, if you have a different set of rituals, or spell casting that you do, this is the time to do it, because this is big. Okay. So don't miss this one. Even if you're like, I've never done it before, then don't make it a big deal. Write down what you want on a piece of paper, burn it in a fire safe space, be done with it. Give it to the ethers, give it to the gods, give it to the universe, So there's that. Okay. The last piece of this week, because usually we talk about where the moon sits every couple of days. This new moon just eclipses, bad pun, everything. So like we're just focusing on this new moon this time. But Sunday, Mercury stations retrograde. So our favorite time, one of our favorite times of the year, to blame everything on Mercury. This is when, electronics and travel and messages and messaging can go awry, and just expect for things to take longer, double check, triple check, your what you're posting, who it's going to, your email addresses, just give extra time. You're going places, pad it with extra timing. If you're editing things, if you're posting things, give it extra time, that you're done way ahead of schedule instead of like on the money kind of thing. Right. So Valerie just said, at least it'll be out of shadow phase. I totally prescribe to this. I find that the pre and post shadow of Mercury retrograde is wonkier than anything else, but that's out of personal experience and years and years and years of like tracking it. So I find that once it actually hits its retrograde station, that you're like, it's a little easier to deal with, honestly. So just remember that Mercury is the messenger. It calls us to slow down, to think, to contemplate a little longer, to edit and reevaluate. You will see themes and conversations and things of like, oh my God, have we not had this whole discussion 17 times before? Yeah, you're going to have it again, because that means there's more to offer the solution. So if you find yourself, in particular in this week with this new moon, having conversations to fix, adjust, if you're in argument or in fights, this really offers time for new input, new realizations, ahas, and breakthroughs, and new information to really genuinely solve it. That's what I look at Mercury retrograde for, is that often if you give it the space, you will hear repetitive themes and you're like, oh my God, we have argued about this 1,000 times. It's because it hasn't been solved yet. So here's an opportunity for solving, for healing, and for moving forward with some progress, even if it don't go away completely. Okay. Oh, good morning, Katie. I'm so glad. Okay. Yeah, it's a big one. It's so big, right? We're coming off of like these really like sad, depressive energies, and it's real. And this pressure of what's happening in Capricorn and Cancer is like, oh, and we're all like, can we just take the pressure off of it? Nope, can't. So how are you going to manage it? Constructively, in a balanced way, with compassion for yourself and others. That's literally the name of the game. So, me, unicorns, this is about self-care. This is about carving out space to feel grounded, to feel calm, knowing that we're not going to feel grounded and particularly calm right now because we're getting squished from all sides. But it's for a purpose, like a grand purpose, really. So hunker down, hang in there. Okay. All right. Do you all have any questions or comments about any of that? Okay. So questions about the eclipse, questions about Mercury stationing retrograde on Sunday in the Northern Hemisphere, questions about Cancer energy, about the new moon basics. And if you're just, coming in, we did a bunch of housekeeping, but you all can go back and listen to that later. So I'm going to take a little sip of water. I want you all to communicate with me. How do you feel? How are you feeling? This is also a time of like high dream time. So if you feel like your dreams have hit like cuckoo mode, like, yeah, it's true. So watch out for messaging there. I feel like there could be some ancestral, Oh, my grandmother. Oh, my great grandmother showed up in my dream this week. Pay attention to what they say and what they're doing. Um, yeah. Okay. No questions, no comments. You guys are liking the workouts. Body feels okay. Pearl, you had some weird dreams. Yeah, I feel like some in this season, certain seasons, I wake up exhausted because brain's super busy in the astral realm where I'm like, dude, guys, I just need some rest. you know? Um, Aaron, that's a really good question. So Aaron on YouTube asked, what if your goal is more than 6 months away? Absolutely. It just sets the pace for this 6 months. So, what this 6 month eclipse season always offers us is a time of quickening, a time of support, a time of breakthrough that makes anything better, easier, faster, more healed. Was that even proper English? So your goal doesn't have to be within the 6 month time period, but it offers the 6 month time period to get your intentions and your really clear, your to do list in order to move you towards the goal at a better pace in this 6 months. It's just more supported. But understand that Cancer, I don't, okay, well, this is coming through. So just hear this. I don't know how it relates to you, Aaron, but this is what's coming through right now. Cancer relates to the home, right? So you can see moving in these time periods or the concept of moving, even if the move doesn't happen until after 6 months. Does that make sense? Job transitions, transfers, kind of things, that you'll get a sniff and a whiff and the introduction of the transition, even if the goal is further than 6 months out. Does that make sense? Yeah. It's not like you have to be ended, but you'll see the upswing and you'll see progress towards it in the next 6 months. Yeah, Melissa, sleep is in general is not fantastic right now because it's so busy because you get this Pluto Saturn business and Cancer and it's like it's just hard. So watch the basics. This is where we go. We cannot control the stars. We cannot control the moon. Our bodies are connected as unicorns. We are much more connected to these cycles. And the more you get on the mat, the more connected you will be, which is why every workout's written in attunement to what's going on, right? So when you feel like just the rest is not happening, this is the time to double down in the self-care, right? Hydration, because that gives us energy, moving away from caffeine. It doesn't mean you have to cut down, just don't add extra, because we do that when we're tired and we haven't slept. You're like, oh, I'll have another coffee. Don't do that. Go drink some more water. And double down on meditation. So one of the things that I hear and that I know constructively is a thing is that when we're tired or we're pressed for time, that we're like, oh, meditation, it's like, 15 whole minutes out of my day. Understand that if you can get into the theta brainwave, into that calm space, that's more restful and supportive to the body than a full cycle of REM sleep. So when you're not sleeping well, if you wake up in the middle of the night or before you go to bed, even if you're staying up a little bit later, do your meditation before bed. Or if you're awake, put on some binaural beats or go press play on the meditation because you can still nourish your body with rest, even if it's not with sleep. Okay. Aaron, did that make sense about your 6 month goal? Sometimes I answer things and then I wonder if it really made sense. In my brain, in my unicorn brain, it made sense. Okay, good. That was a yes. Okay, so my lovely unicorns. Unicorn bingo, shall we? Okay. We missed our unicorn bingo last full moon because we ran out of time and we're doing the double up now, right? Like on Mondays. So here we go, right? Cancer is the great mother energy. It's about home. So we can all in eclipse season be shifts about where home is, what home means to us. And when we look at it at a soul level, I want you all to hear home because this would pertain to the 4th house. Okay, we're not even into unicorn bingo yet, but we're going to start layering in. Home is really your sense of safety in the world. So the North Node is in Cancer now for us as a collective. So just hear this with fuzzy ears. You don't have to know exactly the specifics. We are all, as a collective, being called to look at how do we feel safe in the world. It's playing out big time in politics and on the political stage, right? And we are aware of our environmental issues at hand. They can be turned around for the better and quickly if we all start to implement tiny, tiny bits for ourselves, right? So understand it, Cancer energy. We're all looking at it and dealing with it as a collective. What is our sense of safety in the world? What does home mean to us? Home should be, on a soul level, what allows you to feel safe in this incarnation. Okay, so then we have this new moon in Cancer, plus this squish in Cancer and Capricorn, right? So this is transformations in our home. What allows us to feel stable and secure? Often this will revolve around income. Clearly, that's not the only way to feel secure. I mean, we may have real questions of love and relationship and who shows up for us and have they really been showing up for us, or is this all kind of the facade? So there's a lot offered in these next 6 months of stability and home and, what makes us feel safe in the world and taking responsibility for where those things have fallen off and we haven't made movements forward to provide them for ourselves or to attempt to provide them for ourselves, so to speak. So that's another little layer on the cake here. And Cynthia, you said you're sleeping like a log and so much. I love that. I find that here's my thought on that too, because this can be a hard time sleeping. Like, I'm sleeping a lot. Dreams are busy and I don't really wake up restful, but I'm sleeping a ton. I think that when you have water signs in sun, rising, or moon, and we have these intense water energies, that we go to bed to handle it. We want our subconscious to handle it, and we also hide a little bit. But when you're being, called to sleep a lot, or your body's in rest, that's a high time of alchemization of these new energies. It's also a high time of healing. So bless you that you're getting all this rest time. That's awesome. Embrace it. Just let it happen, right? Because the rest of us are like, could we just sleep? It plays out differently in each person's chart and each person's life. So I always try to give like, hey, what are the stumbling blocks for us as a collective? What I see mostly in a community, what I'm hearing back in emails and in private sessions and private readings, and what I'm seeing in the private Facebook group, right? Because that's really where we connect as a community and here. So when you all are letting me know like how it's affecting you, I tend to share like, oh, here's where it could be troublesome, but then if you're not responding that way, that's okay. Yay. It may feel troublesome to sleep a lot because you're like, dude, I cannot wake up. Just value that your body is alchemizing the energies. I think those who are highly psychic, and Cynthia, of course, that is you, and deal in healing arts and in energetic healing arts, this energy is no joke. It's big. I mean, we're all like, please, oh my God, are we done yet? Are we done now? So there's that. Okay. Unicorn bingo. Let's do unicorn bingo. And then we'll get into the weekly tarot for this week. Okay. All right. So if you have your astrological birth chart, grab it. If you don't have it, you can make little notes, okay? I deal with the whole house sign chart. So if you've done a simple stars reading with me, you have a copy of your chart. 2, you have a whole house sign chart. If you've had a reading with someone else, it's not guaranteed that it's a whole house sign chart. People do it different ways. And in your newsletter that's coming out tomorrow, it has directions on how to pull your own chart if you want to. So first thing, look at where Cancer falls in your chart. What house does it sit in? That's the biggest place for us to have transformation, for us to have change, in particular in the next 6 months, because this is an eclipse, and where the lesson or the blessing will most likely show up in our lives in the next 6 months. That makes sense? But it's the theme we'll be dealing with for this new moon. Oh, Shauna, I love you. Yeah, Cynthia, I'm not particularly waking up well rested either. It's because we're busy in the astral realm. So you might ask guides and guardians for a little, like, can you all turn the dial down just a tiny bit? like just a tiny bit. I need some rest, like literally. And then I know you and we both gather up our crystals as little loveys and minkies, more selenite, more moonstone, more rose quartz under the bed, under the pillow kind of thing when you sleep. It might help, right? Okay, so look in your chart, see where Cancer sits in your chart, what house of the zodiac it sits in, okay? So the number of the house. The first house of the astrological natal chart. This is if you are Cancer rising, okay? If you have Cancer in the first house, this house deals with the I am, who am I? How do I deal with myself? Okay. And so this will be identity issues. How do you show up in the world? This can be job shifts, career shifts. I'm also hearing, how you, maybe, as a gender identify or sexually identify, like these are shifts and we're looking for balance, right? And we're looking where we've been like had the blinders on and haven't taken care of ourselves in a nourished emotional sense. And maybe this is also a very practical sense. So if you have Cancer in the first house, this is going to be issues of identity. Who am I and how do I deal with myself? Cancer tends to deal with itself in an unbalanced way as the martyr. And the victim. I'm doing everything for everybody else and nobody cares and there's no time for me and nobody shows up for me. Yeah, you got to show up for yourself. Quit. Say no. Don't do things for other people. Carve out that hour for yourself. That tends to be the realm of it, okay? It's not the only one. That's all. So if you have Cancer in the second house is how you gather your goods. When you need food, water, shelter, how do you approach that? Cancer in the second house can be really actually great because Cancer gets stuff done. Mamas get things done, right? They are multitaskers. They are capable of remembering the details. They can do multiple things and show up for multiple people. So just watch how you're gathering your goods and then look for the balance in that. Because if you do have Cancer in the second house, you tend to probably get a lot done for everybody else. This is another call out to self-care. Are you getting things done for you? Are you showing up for you? And I also think that Cancer tends to feed to handle things. Chefs have this placement, how do you gather your goods in the world? I cook for people. That's how I do it. You nourish, you bolster, and there can be a lot of making into how you get what you need in this world. So that's constructive, and I don't think that one's epic in the second house. The third house is the house of how you connect to your outside community. How do you communicate? I give sometimes, not to give the negative aspects of things, but if you're in smooth sailing here, then you don't really need the help, right? We often need the call out of if you have Cancer in the third house of communication, connecting to your community, other people outside of yourself, then you look at how you're communicating, right? Are you communicating in a passive aggressive way with people, or is it really fair and balanced of nourishing and complimentary and engaging people and supporting people along with here's what I need and here's the practical aspects of how we can get this done together, right? In a very balanced and fair way. But it's always, Cancer in the third house, just watch out for being too emotional about how you communicate. Because we can have all the feels, and we definitely need to have our deep feelings. But how you feel, everything coming out of your mouth, of how you feel right now, deep feels, intuitive deep feels, how your gut, how your soul feels, those are real. But feelings are very human and can be very incorrect and very messy and very wrong. And you don't want to be throwing your feelings all over everybody else like loose paint, right? So watch how you're communicating with people. Watch how emotional you're being. And so this goes in both directions. Are you just throwing your emotions on other people, expecting them to clean up the damn mess? Or are you communicating how you feel, what you're going to do to help adjust it, and what you're asking for, and somebody else to support that? That makes sense. So I think Cancer in the third house is an important transition right now, because how you communicate with others, communicate your needs, how you share your feelings, this is huge in how people respond. This is huge in how you manifest and how you magnetize and what your frequency is. So if you've got Cancer in the third house, I think that's a big one for this moon. And I think you really need to just do an honest check-in of, the emotional aspect of how you're communicating. Cancers can also be so protective that they don't share any of their feelings because they're afraid of getting hurt, right? That soft underbelly. So maybe this call is to be more genuine and communicative about your feelings, about the situation, about how you feel when certain things happen, in a day-to-day level, and go, it may not be right. It may not be this is how I feel. And we just need to get it out there to help clean things up and not stash them inside. Fourth house. Okay, so fourth house, I think, is like the whoop whoop for this new moon, and the next 6 months, and this, as we finish up the 18-month cycle of the North Node being in Cancer. Fourth house, if you have Cancer in the fourth house is the house of home. So again, to repeat, fourth house is your sense of safety in the world at a soul level. What makes your soul feel safe? Is it more finances? Is it a partner? Is it having work that really gives back to others? Is it, is it about your functional living space? Like, it doesn't make me feel very good to be in this particular house or this particular apartment or this particular state or city. So this is where shifts can come up in the fourth house in a big way. So anybody in the chat right now on YouTube or Instagram have Cancer in the fourth house? I just think you all should really, really look at your calendars and set in that hour a day. If it's 30 and 30, if it's 15-minute increments, you really need self-care time alone to help you work through this lunation and these Cancer energies. Okay, Cancer. If you have Cancer in the fifth house is your house of creativity. Cancer in the fifth house is really sweet because the fifth house of creativity is really about, how you connect to your inner child. How do you play? Do you have a playfulness about you? And because Cancer is the great mother energy, that fifth house can be literal children in the world, right? Creative endeavors. What do you produce? What do you make? What do you give? And so I think this is a neat house for this lunation too. What do you give? What do you make? How do you show up for others and yourself? Like, what's this interplay between joy and your shadow self? So this could be another little whoop whoop. Pay extra attention if you have Cancer in the fifth house. Cancer in the sixth house. Sixth house is our house of love. How do you give? How do you show up in the world? How do you help? How do you teach? So fifth house is the actual thing that you produce, right? So at its literal, it's children, it could be works of art. Sixth house is how do you give that? How do you help others? Like the mode in which that happens, right? It can also be the flavor in which you love. So if you have Cancer in the sixth house, you're going to take care of everything and everybody. Watch out for that one being about martyrdom, and make sure that you're not overtaking other people and that you're doing as much caretaking for yourself and loving yourself as you are others, okay? Battery on my phone is about to die. I think we're going to hold our breath on Instagram. I think we only have a few more minutes left on Instagram anyway, because it only stays live for an hour. And so if you want to hop from Instagram to YouTube, YouTube will continue for the next half hour also. Okay. So if you have Cancer in the seventh house is the house of relationships. So again, it's like there's just a lot in this new moon with this eclipse, because Cancer is in the North Node, and we've got this pressure cooker between Cancer and Capricorn right now. I think this is another flag for this could be a little extra intense in this lunation for those who have Cancer in the seventh house, because it's the house of relationships. The way I like to boil down the seventh house is, how do you deal with others, right? So this is really the best way to look at it as a useful day-to-day tool is when you are in conflict with someone else. It doesn't have to be an argument, but how do you approach that? How do you handle it? Well, Cancer might hide, little crap, dig in and hide. Don't want to handle it. Just let it pass. My little heart shell will sustain, so be careful with this, that in relationships right now, there's a lot of relationship shakeout because we're trying to be more honest, more balanced, express our feelings, ask for what we need, be in self responsibility about where we haven't shown up for ourselves or for other people, where our immaturity lies. So the seventh house in Cancer could get a big shakeup, but always for the constructive, because this is about emotional maturity here. How do you engage with other people? What is your responses? So again, a little like bloop, bloop. You could be dealing with issues of being passive aggressive with others when really you need to be honest and express how things make you feel, things you've been carrying around for eons, where you're mad at them, where you've been mad at them, and really clean out the emotional closets. Because if you don't, I think you're going to get some not happy surprises in the next 6 months because of this eclipse, because eclipses are endings and beginnings. So you can be in self-responsibility and in co-creatorship with the endings and the beginnings. Like, I'm going to end this behavior of being passive aggressive when somebody tries to communicate about their feelings or my feelings with me. I'm going to be really bad at talking about my emotions because I've never done it before, knowing that the more I do it, I'll get better at it, and that it's for the greatest good of all, and in terms of healing and empowerment, to be able to communicate what I need, where I got my feelings hurt. I feel this way about it. You may not have intended this. This is what I need moving forward, right? There's all of these beautiful windows of constructive healing that comes out of having Cancer in the seventh house right now. Eighth house. If you have Cancer in the eighth house is the house of death and sex. But I look at it as the house of clearing and like, how well do you manifest? So if you have Cancer in the eighth house, you're going to be looking at, do you hoard stuff? Do you stay attached to things, people, and places too long? It's death and sex, right? Death is the clearing of this physical 3D plane, and sex, a climax is called the little death, because it's like bliss. Like, where are you? Are you in the physical body? Or are you out of the physical body? Like, what is that awesome sensation, right? So you have the capacity to reach a certain kind of bliss point in this new moon if you have Cancer in the eighth house, if you are honest and earnest about the balance of emotions and physical need. So I would definitely, call out sensual pleasures, partnership, sex, just, straight up, like, where is the balance there? Do you have joy and sensual pleasures? And this can be with a partner or without a partner. What are your concepts around that? Is that just a dead topic, or is it a topic that's taken up a little too much time? So look at that in this new moon if you have Cancer in the eighth house. Cancer in the ninth house. Ninth house is the house of connecting within. Connecting to yourself. And what is yourself? Your soul, your spirit, connecting to divine source. So this is, this new moon and this eclipse could offer, if you have Cancer in the ninth house, some breakthroughs, some real messaging in meditation or out of meditation, inner movement on the mat, because that's a moving meditation, really. Really double down on your meditation time. If you're inconsistent about it, in the next, 5 days, meditate daily. Go press play on your guided meditation at UnicornWellness.Studio and put yourself at the altar of the universe, because I think there could be some big messages there and some breakthroughs and some understanding, and just that feeling of bliss and connected to something larger than yourself. That's pretty epic, and that's the point. Not to feel alone, to feel filled up with light, with unconditional love, being content in and of yourself, simply sitting. These are big things, okay? 10th house is the house of empowerment. This has to do with legacy in the world. What do we leave behind? And how do we feel empowered in this 3D incarnation? So if you have Cancer in the 10th house, I think that this is also a double down red flag of like digging in there. Where is the balance? How do I feel? Do I feel empowered? Do I feel powerless? And this always is directed at self-work in order to stand bigger in your true place in the sun, to be on path with your karma, with your personal purpose. So dig in there. There's some messaging to talk about psychic capacities in this house, being a healer, stepping more into a healer persona. If you have Cancer in the 10th house. This is a time to do a Reiki training. This is a time to have a Reiki treatment, to have a theta healing, to really explore some of these energies at a deeper level, and then go, how would this apply to my life? How could it apply to my life in the greater spectrum, right? Not everybody's called to be a teacher or a healer, but if you've got Cancer in that 10th house, you might look at, right? And healers come in all kinds of shapes and sizes. And this is, I'm also hearing about, psychic capacity, channeling, intuition, messaging, being able to connect and courier messages from one side to the next. Okay. 11th house. So on Instagram, just so you all know, it's getting ready to turn off. We've got about 24 seconds. If you want to watch the rest of this, or if you missed the beginning of it, you can head over to my YouTube channel on YouTube to watch it in perpetuity, front to back, beginning to end, at any time. Okay. So I love you all very much. Thank you for joining me on Instagram, and we'll stay on YouTube for the remainder of our ritual. I'm looking at 9th house. Oh, you guys, of course, your 9th house Cancers. Yeah. Well, but again, you guys too, 9th and 10th house. 9th house is that, how do you connect within, right? That is nothing but psychic connection and capacity. So they're going to speak to each other. And depending on what degree it's at, like Valerie, if yours is, real close to that 10th house, you may be feeling some of that 10th house energy of it too. Like if you've got, Cancer 9th house at later degrees. Paula, you too. Look at you guys. Yeah. Those are some witchy woo energies right there. Okay, so Cancer in the 11th house. The 11th house is the house of, it's a layered house. Okay, I'll put it that way. It's got all kinds of bits to it. I think it's easier to look at it as the house of networking and friendships. What are the networks that work for you, that support you? How do you have a community? Where's your tribe, so to speak? So Cancer in the 11th house, this is, you may show up as the mother for a lot of people. You always feel like you're taking care of everybody. Like, really? Like they cannot figure these things out in a sweet, loving way. This could also really be a call to finding your tribe in spaces where it's more empathetic, more loving, more of a unicorn tribe per se, more of a, shaman, witch, mystical, metaphysical, star seeds energy, right? That your comfort zone is going to be in these psychic spaces of universal love. And that's where you'll find your tribe. So if you feel like you haven't found your people yet, like check your 11th house. It may be there, right? 12th house. 12th house is the house of the unseen. I think in this new moon, which interestingly enough, this is where Cancer sits for me, is in the 12th house. I've got a couple layers to this layer cake in this one, but the 12th house has so much to do with the unseen realm, with dream time, astral travel, with spirits and ghosts and psychic messaging also. Remember, houses like from 7 to 12 all deal with the ethereal and the energetic level of things. Houses 1 through 6 deal with the 3D plane. So if you've got Cancer in houses 1 through 6, you're going to be dealing with some 3D life tactic, tangible, actionable. If you have Cancer in houses 7 through 12, it's going to be more energetic. It's going to be more soul-centered. It's going to be more cyclically, yeah, Katie, you and me, we're twinning. So, the 12th house has so much to do with the unseen. So in some ways with Cancer in the 12th house, we're not sure how this is going to shake out. Our dream time is going to get amped, and we're going to be trying to pull like, oh, where's our messaging from it? But also know that 12th house, the way I like to look at it in a practical 3D realm, because I'm Taurus sun, so I want things to be grounded. I want to know how they function, like how do they work? That if you have Cancer in the 12th house is also looked at as hidden talents. So, hidden talent of Cancer is being the great mother, is figuring out how to balance how you nurture and hold space for others and uplift them, and how you have time and balance for yourself as well. And how much time, are you spending all of your time in the ocean in the psychic creative energies, and you're not feeding yourself, right? You're not doing the functionals. Or are you spending all of your time food, water, shelter, basics, and you're never getting that fill up and restoration of creativity and flow and divine spirit. So I think that Cancer in the 12th house, we're not totally certain how this is going to play out for us because it's unseen. It could be a gift. It could be, you know, really getting deeper, more deeply connected to these astral levels, to the unseen levels, being able to communicate and courier messages, you know, or it really can be that our talent is in mothering others, and we need to take ownership of that. And rather than feeling put upon or victimized by every, you know, holding space for it, because we like it, let's be honest. But we can't like showing up and holding space and helping others and still be yelling and screaming about the victimhood of how we're being drained by it and no one shows up for us. So I think if we have Cancer in the 12th house, we got to be real honest about how we show up for ourselves and the balance and boundaries of that. But it's also our hidden talent. So actually, we're very good at setting boundaries and showing up for people. We just may not have put that into play yet. How about that? Right, Katie? It's good, huh? Yeah, I've been sitting on that one because as great as I am as channeling for everybody else, breaking down your own chart and your own stuff is a little more hectic. Yeah. A little note, I think Katie may be the only one in this room that has Cancer in the 12th house. But for those of you who may watch this later on and, you know, also have Cancer in the 12th house, there's an odd little thing that happens that can happen in Cancer. If you have Jupiter in your natal chart in Cancer in the 12th house. So, Katie, I don't know if you have that. I don't remember that. This is considered to be the guardian angel placement. So, there's just some things out there, meaning the guardian angel placement of that, yeah, Katie, go check. And then if you have it, you know, if anybody has it that's watching this video after the fact, let me know. I find it to be really interesting, and it is called the guardian angel placement. This means that the divine universe really has your back. We all have guardian angels. It all has our back. But there is kind of a specialty to this that when things look desperate, really bad scenarios, that things will always come through in the end, but it's like in the last minute. So when we look at this new moon and this eclipse season, and we're getting the pressure cooker in Cancer and Capricorn, and it's telling us in the next 6 months, don't give up. The things that you want, you got to double down on it, even if like it has made zero progress and it's never worked in the past 3 to 8 years, but you're really diligently still wanting this and wanting to manifest it. You know, it's saying don't give up because this eclipse can help illuminate and be the breakthrough moment, like sustain. If you've got this guardian angel placement of Jupiter in Cancer in the 12th house, it's only there. Then I'm hoping, personal, you know, that this new moon and this eclipse activates the guardian angel placement, that I think that you will genuinely see an upswing of things coming through and movement forward and progress in ways you have not seen in 3 and 8 years. I don't know that that needs to be epic. You know, small progress is still progress and tiny miracles are still miracles. So that's just an extra hanging out there because of the pressure cooker, because of Cancer, because of that placement. Okay. Questions, comments? Chat amongst yourselves. I'm going to get the cards out. So that is your unicorn bingo in completion. Okay. Next up, the weekly reading. What do we have in store for this week? It's a big week. Like no way around it. It's a big one. I clean up my desk a little bit before I do this for you all. So, you know, be on the ball, be in ownership, talk it out. Right. And again, it's like there's no absolutes as to how it will play out, in particular with an eclipse, because this is kind of like the what's going to happen next moment. So all you can ever be doing is be in self-care and self-evaluation and be doing your very best, putting the energy in and just waiting to see, right? And having trust and faith. Don't stress out. Don't freak out. Just keep doing, right? Okay. I think there is a little bit of a delay on the comments, so I don't ever mean to rush past them. It just always looks like things aren't being typed up, and then I try to wait. But since we're live, I don't want to wait too long on things. So if you all have comments or questions about any of that, let me know. Okay. So flying cards out of the deck already. So we're going to move into our weekly tarot reading. This is a 5-card spread. If you've not been here with me before, we will look at the energy and the theme of the week, spirit on which to move through it, right? Next steps, biggest steps to our highest and greatest good, assets to this week, and then the outcome. I'll also pull a guardian angel card. So see, I went through that whole guardian angel thing on purpose. You know, who to call on for help and protection. I gotta say, a lot of notes, and even myself really anchored into Green Terra last week, our goddess. Who got help and answers from Green Terra? I did. Man, like quick. Meaning 24 hours. Pretty big deal. Okay, so here we go. So our tarot reading for the week, for this week of our new moon, our eclipse, total solar eclipse. We won't see it in the northern hemisphere. I don't think we'll be able to see it at all. Mercury stations retrograde on Sunday. Okay, troops. Spirit in which to move through things. I'm using the Nicoletta Ciccoli deck today. It took me some time to pick out the deck for today. And then, but I just felt like it's usually Pisces energy. It's that dreamy, watery, emo. And it was speaking today. Okay, and our guardian angel. So the guardian angel, bye, Paula. Guardian angel of this week, to ask for protection, to ask for guidance, you know, also kind of the spirit in which, you know, the cloak to put on when, you know, to try to embody this particular guardian angel. Y'all, I love me some cards. Okay, here we go. So the theme of this week, and the starting point, the energy of this week for us. I'm not going to say the energy of the new moon for us, because the new moon reading is up on the site for members of UnicornWellness.Studio. So if you want the new moon reading, the overview, you're going to need to be a member over there and go watch it over there. Remember, this is the breakdown for the week. Okay. So the theme of the week, what we're going to be dealing with, where we're starting from, this is 6 of Pentacles. And I find this one to be fantastic in this deck. So 6 is the number of love. Pentacles are about our resources, like our abundance, finances, time, love, joy. And so look, we're really dealing with the balance. How do I hang on to the tail of everything? Right. So in a lot of decks, the 6 of Pentacles is about sharing, right? Showing up for others, others showing up for you. It kind of restores our faith in humanity, that if somebody else has resources, you have resources too. You're never alone. You're never out of anything. But this deck takes an interesting turn of it, of looking at our resources of like, we're trying to be, it's very Virgo. I'm trying to keep a hold of everything. I'm trying to keep, you know, onto the tails of all of these different things. You know, mice can be about our, you know, family. They can also denote in symbolism moving, like taking care of stuff, moving your family to different places. So the theme of this week looks like just trying to keep a hold of all of the things in play right now. Like, this is my house into a T right now. It's summer. The kids are home. We've got all kinds of weird schedules. Work is like doubled down, you know, so we're just trying to hang in there. So the theme of the week is like, okay, you've got everything by its tail. Good. Hang on. And that by hanging on to all of these multiple areas, multiple things, multiple themes, there will be abundance because of it. It's not chaotic. They're not running around. You're not chasing them around the room. You've got them by the tail. That's good. Okay. And so just hang in there with it, because this will bring abundance. And again, it's not one mouse. How many are in here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 10. Fresh starts and new beginnings, you know? So I just love this card. She's got little ruby slippers on. Sweetie, you had the power the entire time, right? This idea of empowerment, really having the things by the tail. You've got a hold of things right now, you know? So just be calm, be thoughtful, go slow, you know, kind of be the huntress, be the kitty cat. Like, I'm not moving because somebody told me to move. I'm going to move when I'm damn well ready. But I've got everything. I got a hold of everything. And that's a whole lot. Okay. So bye, you guys. I know it's a long day today. Bye, Valerie. Thank you for joining us. So, there's a theme of providing for yourself, actually having things, a hold of things. And then those ruby slippers. Oh, but my dear, you had the power the entire time. Now that makes me want to cry. It's like you've been chasing these mice around. You finally got everything by the tail. Like, just hang on. You're almost there. And it really will produce something beautiful and abundant. And in regard to the family. So this is great. Next steps for our highest and greatest good this week. This is 6. This is, your 6th major arcana. This is the Lover's card. Okay. In this deck, another 6, right? The number of love. We've really got to love the things that we're doing right now because it's pressurized, it's hard, it's frustrating, it's not bringing about a lot of results right now. You got to love it. You got to keep loving yourself through it. The Lover's card in a lot of decks calls to partnership. This one does not. This one calls to self-love, self-care, indulging in your own senses, just being you, doing the things that really support you, that grow you, even if they seem weird or like the antithesis of what you need. So it's like she's got a serpent curling around her, right? Serpent energy is feminine energy, shedding your skin, being new all the time, willing to just shed it over and over to keep evolving. Apples being the fruit of the heart, do what you love yourself. There's also a call to the banishment out of the Garden of Eden of, being curious, the unknown, educating yourself, going and doing the things people said not to do. It's like, well, I'm going to go have my own experience with this. So the next best step for our highest and greatest good this week is really the cultivation of self-care, self-love, but sensual pleasures. What do I like? What brings me empowerment? Maybe wearing a snake around my neck is going to bring me empowerment. Maybe I'll have one next week. Like what's fun, what's loving, like get deeper into yourself that grounds you, that also grows you. It's like you can only be as big and tall as the roots are deep and long. So we're working on it in all the ways. Biggest steps for our highest and greatest good this week. This is interesting. This is the Knight of Wands. It's another call to having fun in this deck. It's like when pigs fly kind of thing of really like, no, pigs can fly, the thing that you want. I think it's about to happen, honestly, in the next 6 months. So you just got to keep your head down, have some fun. Like, I think things have been really heavy with responsibility to the collective, responsibility to self or to our planet. Again, things have always been difficult. There has always been feast and famine. There have always been wars and misuse. And no, the planet perhaps has not gotten to this place before. However, life still goes on, and it is our goal and our purpose to try to have a joyful, sensual pleasure life and to balance it along with the helping and doing. We can't be in rescue mode or in, fright mode. Sometimes you have to be in flight, right? Fight or flight. Like you can't be in stress all the time. So the biggest step this week is about finding the fun and the joy and the this pig's going to fly kind of thing. Like these goals are going to happen. So let's go have some fun doing it. That doesn't mean we just forget about everything else, but there's balance to it. Because the knights are wily, right? They go. And fire is about bravery and courageousness. This is about being brave and courageous and being joyful. And I think that's a very brave thing to do and a very courageous thing to do. And you may take some flack for it. There's some other things going on in the world. You're going to go do that? Yes, I am. Because if I don't do that, my joy level is like, then I'm capsized, then I'm depressed, and then I can't help anybody. So I'm going to do this little bit of fun thing in order to feed the long game. Okay, so it is about balance, and it is still about having pleasure and joy within all of the healing and the work that happens. Assets to the situation. It's the Queen of Pentacles. She's definitely a cake and eater too kind of gal, right? So it's like this in spades, right? I'm going to dye my hair pink. I'm going to wear a pretty dress, and I'm eating ice cream today. Yeah, I know there's terrible things happening in the world. I'm going to be grateful for it, and I'm going to fill up for it, and then I'm going to take that joy and I'm going to go help those who don't have this opportunity right now. But I'm going to enjoy the one that I have and not waste it and not squander it. So, Queen energy, can't deny it. Pentacles mean abundance and joy. And I just hear fun in this one. So do something fun. Sometimes it's just fun to put on sparkly clothes and go, be a little silly today. Okay. Then the outcome of this week. This is the fourth card of the major arcana. This is the Emperor. Interesting. Okay, so for sustainability and long term, hello, call out to the fourth house of home in the zodiac. The Emperor is the father of the chart. This is Saturn. God bless it, right? So Saturn is pushing us, push, push, push. Can you be disciplined? Can you be on time? Can you get things done in this pressure cooker? You won't always have to be doing so much or be so on target, but you've got to be right now. So the outcome of it is that there's a strategy put in place at the end of this week to help you balance, to help you have fun, to help you get things done, to cultivate self-love and the doing. And even beyond that, I think there's going to be for a lot of us a strategy for the next 6 months. Like, let's get serious about it. Let's use these 6 months with purpose. Put a plan together, manifest. What are your intentions? Make the plan. And I hear that this is really Saturn saying, I'm actually helping you. I'm putting all of this pressure and kind of narrowing in the rails because you're going to really learn something in this period of time and it will come to fruition. Because Saturn's the disciplinarian. It says you don't get to go out and play right now. You haven't learned your lesson yet. Okay. All right then. So then we've got things to learn. Spirit in which to move through this week. Couldn't have made it up if I tried. Hello, solitude. So this is your new moon energy right here of spend some time alone. If you need to hop off right now and go meditate, hop off right now and go meditate. You need to go journal, go get on your damn mat. But spend time alone. So look at your calendar, carve it out, give yourself alone time this week, big time, because this is where the breakthrough is going to come. And is it a feather or is it a tree? It's a feather. Okay, one of the ways in which guides and guardian angels make it known that they're around are feathers in your path. So one, this is like, hey, we're here. We're really here. I know you guys may feel the pressure, but we're really here. We cannot help until you ask, but you also need to be in good stewardship of the help that you're asking for. Meditation, giving, being of use and of service to the world. You got to do the doing. But solitude is the way in which to move through this week. So don't overbook yourself. And if you are, go clear out some time. Talking to myself right now. The guardian angel for the week. Hello, clairsentience. Archangel Ragout, notice your recurring physical and emotional feelings as they signify divine guidance. If that isn't just the honest to goodness unicorn truth right now. My digestion when it comes to eclipses gets like all kinds of wonky because it's so much energy to alchemize that I just have to kind of back off a little bit of what I'm eating, when I'm eating, and how that there's also could be a lot of headaches because of the solar, the eclipse of it. Energy's coming in, information coming in. So just, be listening to those things. When do you feel it? What conversation were you having? What were you thinking when that happened, when you felt this? Let's read the rest of this. Archangel Ragout, please honor your feelings. Don't be afraid of deep emotions or intense feelings. Hello, Cancer, energy balance. I can help you distinguish between your own feelings and those of others. I'll also help you clear any energies you may absorb. I'll guide you towards people, situations, and places in clear and loving energy. Your receptive emotions and physical feelings provide important information. So please notice and follow these feelings. They're answers to your prayers. Ask me to help translate confusing messages so that you'll clearly know which steps to take. Working with Archangel Ragout. Like an air traffic controller, Ragout oversees archangels and angels, ensuring harmony, cooperation, and order among them all. In this same way, he'll help you sort all your feelings, enabling you to notice, understand, and follow them. Messaging, balance, what do you feel? Communicate it. Learn, and again, you can't communicate what you don't understand or don't know how to articulate. And sometimes the word fails us. Yeah, it's such a good card. language fails us for emotions and feelings. So it's a practice thing of how to talk about them, how to get through them. And I think it's really important to spend time in solitude, journaling in particular, to like hash out, how do I feel? What do I think? I do make my boys keep journals, and not always so consistently, but to how do I feel about this? What do I think about this? And when we get into conversation and it's hard, to go, okay, how do you feel right now? Icky, tired, cranky, mad. Why? We don't know. That's okay. When did that feeling start? When you said this. Okay, so then they could start to put together like, oh, I feel this way. This triggered it. May not be the reason for it. And then kind of work backwards a little bit. But writing it out and journaling can be so powerful because it, the more avenues of your senses you work through something, the deeper you know it. Again, this is why the work on the mat and why the work with Unicorn Wellness. If it works its way energetically, physically through your body, through embodiment, it works its way through energetically and emotionally and mentally in meditation, and it works its way through cognitively, emotionally in the tarot, then we're really moving things through our senses full circle, and that allows for great mastery, great breakthrough, and real ownership and understanding of how to translate our emotions, when to share them, when to not share them, how to share them, how to communicate them. Okay? It's a good reading. It's a very good one. Okay. I love you all very much. If you will remember to click the like button, little thumbs up, that would be very helpful and very useful. If you have not subscribed to this channel yet, please do so. If you feel called to share this video, literally just dump it on your Facebook account. Just shoot it out, on Twitter. It would be really nice. You could definitely use the visibility, and I just, with great gratitude of sharing. If this work helps and supports you and you love it, then please put it out there to share it with others. Yeah, if you want to book a personal reading with me, the calendar is closed for August, but you can book for September now. So if you want to be preemptive about things, if not, hunker down into your UnicornWellness.Studio new, full, and monthly tarot readings. I will facilitate these every week through July and August. And if you are not yet a member and you are thinking or contemplating or kind of dancing around, signing up at the site, if you sign up in July, you will also get a magic circle. So that's the short end of the story there. I would love to have you. I'm giving you all the magic this month. And yeah, you guys can always ask questions. If you have questions after the fact, put them in the comments. Find me on Instagram. Come find me on Facebook. I am in all the places. Okay. I love you all very much. Thank you for being here for this new moon ritual. Have a blessed new moon tomorrow, and start working on the self-care and the balance, right? Like, where can we dig into the shadows? Where can we get more healing, more recognition, more acceptance of ourselves? Because this is truly transformative, right? I will have the photo layout of this card layout, so you can look at it in total over on Instagram in my feed. So from my profile feed, not in the stories, although I might drop it there too. Okay. Be on the lookout for your newsletter tomorrow. It's always chock full of stuff. There's an extra surprise in this one. You're going to want it. Yeah. Happy new moon and time in solitude. Okay. I love you all. I will talk to you soon.